people judge the book by the cover. Hate to say it, but it just is what it is. I'm guilty of it too. So what I had to learn as a kid was I was always smart, but my appearance didn't match who I was on paper. So, for example, I was a straight A student. I mean, I took algebra 1, algebra 2, I took pre-calculus, trigonometry, all this stuff in high school. But I dressed just like everybody else. What I mean by everybody else, back then, baggy clothes was in style. We wasn't wearing the tight clothes back then. So I probably wore a 32. I was wearing a 38, 36. Whereas I probably wore a medium shirt, I was wearing the large from the gas station that's really like a 2X. So a lot of people judge me based on my appearance. A lot of the teachers that I had, though, they knew me because they know my character. They see me every day in class. I come there, I know when to shut up. I'm respectful. I do my bell ringer, all this stuff, right? But the people that see me in the street or see me at the barbershop or see me in the hallway, they don't know it. I'm gonna tell you a story. So I was in the Mississippi Scholars Program or whatever you call it, Honor Society. And like the first Thursday of the month or the first Tuesday of the month, we used to have to meet in the auditorium. I don't even remember what we was talking about. But anyway, we had to meet. So I'm sitting there in the hallway, and there's probably like 30 of us. And this teacher come patrolling down the hallway. And he kind of singles me out of everybody. We sitting up against the wall. It's like 7:05 in the morning. The meeting started at 7:15. So we sitting there up against the wall, and he come down there, he singled me out. And he asked me what was I doing sitting out there. And I was like, oh, I'm waiting to go in the meeting, just I don't know exactly what I said, but pretty sure I said something to that effect. Like, I'm just same thing they sitting out here for. So he rolled his eyes, he shook his head and said, they let anybody in here, I guess. So at the time, as a kid, I didn't know I didn't know he was insulting me or giving me a backhanded compliment or whatever you want to call it. But as I got grown, I was adult, I realized that wasn't no compliment. But either way, it shouldn't have been said. I felt like if I would have told my mama or my daddy, something would have been said about that. But like I said, it went over my head because I didn't know he was insulting me. But it had a lot to do with how I was carrying myself. Now, had I been sitting out there with a duck head shirt on, tucked in, with some khakis in and a belt and some Sperry's, he probably wouldn't have said that. But me, I'm sitting there, I'm thugged out. I got on a probably Coogee, big. I wear a 32. I probably got on size 38 Coogee, a 2X shirt. I got the slits in my eyebrow like Usher. So he judged me he judged the book by the cover, and that's cool. I ain't no hard feelings, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying the lesson in that is how you present yourself is how people gonna receive you. As a woman, if you carry yourself a certain way, or if you present yourself a certain way, that's how people gonna approach you. Like as I'm telling you, as a man, if I see a woman, she carrying herself like somebody, I'm gonna approach her like, either way, I ain't just that type of dude that's gonna walk up to nobody and say anything. But just be mindful as a woman, how you present yourself. No, nobody know how you grew up, and you grew up in the church, and your mom is this, and your daddy is that person. Don't nobody know that. Like, so you gotta. But if you like people approaching you like that, then go ahead. But if you want somebody to treat you with respect, then you got to carry yourself a certain way. So yeah, the lesson was how you present yourself is how people gonna receive you. Another lesson I learned was adapt. You gotta learn how to adapt. So I always make this joke about if you drop me off naked in the jungle, I'm gonna come out with a fur coat and some alligator boots and a snakeskin belt. And you're gonna see some trees shaking in there every now and then. Like what Kevin Gates be saying, if you see me fighting a bear, help the bear. But the story, it just boils down to you just gotta learn how to adapt. You gotta take what your environment give you, and you gotta make something out of it. So you in the jungle, you need a jacket. You see that polar bear over there, let me get that. You need some shoes. You see that alligator over there, let me get that. So you gotta have that mindset of like, I ain't waiting on nobody to do nothing for you. Don't wait on nobody the world don't owe you nothing. Your mama, your daddy owe you a roof over your head and food and clothes. They don't owe you no car. That's not no necessity as a child. You know what I'm saying? Anything outside of that, food, shelter, and clothes is extra. You got to go get it. I mean, some people fortunate enough that have some parents that really that's gonna step. You know what I'm saying? And like it takes a village. Like the village raised me. A lot of people had to help. My people. If it came down to it, I knew they was gonna step. Now I might have had to wash. I might have had to wash their car about 4-5 times or cut the grass about 4-5 times. But you know, my folks wasn't gonna let me go without. But you still at the same time, your support system needs to be a last resort, not a first option. Your first mindset need to be, how am I gonna go do this myself? You know what I'm saying? Not like, oh, I need $50. Let me call my mama. Like, no, you gotta, first of all, people more willing to help you when they see you trying to help yourself. And another thing I learned was the phrase is hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. And what I mean by that, if you ever play sports, you know how the coach always say, give me the person that's gonna work hard. Give me the person that's gonna run all the way to the line when they do their sprints. Give me the person that's not gonna cheat, that's not gonna cut no corners when we run in laps, right? So, a while back, Jimmy Jones had told his story. He said the coach told him that he knew who had athlete's foot by the way that they ran their sprints. And the first time I heard the story at 25 years old, I'm like, oh, it must be a certain way that they running, like they limping or something, like athlete foot make your foot hurt. You know what I'm saying? So what he was saying was, if you're not running all the way to the line during your sprints, you ain't getting down and washing your feet in the shower. You're not a thorough person. You're not a finish through the line person. You know what I'm saying? You was a just enough to get by person. So he said he could tell who had athlete's foot by the way they ran their laps. And that didn't really click in my head till I got older. So, but anyway, back to the lesson. Hard work beat talent when talent don't work hard. That whole running to the line, through the line to do the sprints, that's part of that whole work hard thing. Because the most talented person on the court or on the field, a lot of times they ain't the one that's running all the way to the line when they're doing their sprint. So as that applies to me, I was probably 8-9 years old. I had this lady named Miss Mildred that stayed in the neighborhood. Miss Mildred was the candy lady. And Miss Mildred was cool with my grandma. They met at church. And so my grandma would send me to Miss Mildred's house to get a Frito pie, every now and then for $1. So y'all don't know, a Frito pie is just the Frito-Lay chips in a bowl with some chili, cheese, jalapeno peppers, Frito pie, right? So she sent me to Miss Mildred's house to get the Frito pie. So some kind of way along the lines, Miss Mildred had started wanting me to cut her grass for her. So she had somebody else that was cutting the grass, right? And she was paying them, let's just say $8. I don't know. So when I came down there, she asked me, just so happened to ask me one day what I would charge to cut the grass. And I told her $10 in a Frito pie. So she was like, cool. She even gave me a bottle of water. Like she would, I'll go down there. I pushed them. I'm 8 years old now. Push the lawnmower down the road, and she'll give me a bottle of water. And when I finish, I get my $10 in my Frito pie. But it taught me, like, she would rather pay me $10 plus a bottle of water and a Frito pie than to pay $8 because she know I'm consistent. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna do a good job. So a lot of times it's not always about saving. Sometimes it's expensive to be cheap because sometimes you spend that $8, now you gotta spend some more money to pay somebody to come fix what the $8 person didn't do, right? Like with your car, do it make most? Oh, I'll give you a perfect example. I had this fishing pole, right? The $20 fishing reel at Walmart. I went fishing 3 times. It broke every time. Every time it would break, I would go back and get another. It break, I would go back and get another. It break, I go back and get another. Last time, I said, you know what? I'm gonna just break down and I done spent $60 already. Let me just break down and go and buy a good fishing reel, right? I spent that $100. I still got it. So sometimes it's expensive to be cheap because you spend that $20, it gonna last one fishing trip. You're gonna be in there buying another one. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes Miss Mildred had figured out, well, if I pay him this $10, this Frito pie and this bottle of water, He gonna do it right, and I ain't gotta beg my grandson to come out here and fix it. You get what I'm saying? And the last thing I learned was fishing. What's the number one lesson you learn in fishing? Is patience. It taught me how to be patient in every level of my life. Um, Another thing too is one of the first things you learn in fishing is different fish attracted to different bait. Different fish like different bait. You want to catch a big fish, you use big bait. You want to catch a little fish, you use little bait. You want to catch a bass, you probably need a live bluegill or a minnow. You ain't gonna too often catch no bass on no worm. You want to catch a catfish, they scavengers. They bottom feeders. You need something stinking. You need something, that's gonna give off that odor that's gonna attract the catfish, right? So I learned that it's the same way with people. So like, say for example, if you as a man, you keep attracting the same type of woman, and you like, man, I keep attracting these women. They like the first week or two, they dry big and they talking about they car slipping, sliding all over the road, they tires ball like they asking you without asking you, they drive bigger. You know what I'm saying? Like, why all these women keep asking me for money? What is it about me that's attracting these type of women? I'm gonna tell you, bro, it's the bait. It's the bait that you got on your hook. Um, it's a lot of them out there that just like that. Same with me. If you're a woman, you keep attracting the same type of guy. Maybe you need to look in the mirror. With me or any other man, and we keep attracting the same type of woman, I'm telling you, it's the bait. A lot of time, you just need to look in the mirror and say, what is it that I'm doing to attract this type of person? And I think that's gonna wrap it up for the day, y'all. We're right at 15 minutes. And send me some questions. Send me in the comments in the DM, and I'll see y'all probably later this week.